Brum brum. As you all know, I've got my 1959 Mini, which is a Morris Mini, and it's a very original car, and, you know, I didn't really want to make it look new or anything. This is a good old car, but this is 1959, but this is an Austin 7, so this was made in Longbridge. And I decided that what I'd like to do is I'd like to have one that's immaculate. So I decided to keep the original one and not mess with that, but this one, we're going to cure the rust, any rust. It's very good. The floors are perfect, but there's a bit of rust at the back, so we're going to do that. And it's already been repaired, but not really up to standard, so we're going to do that. Take the subframe out and have a good look at that and try not to replace it. We'll repair it if necessary. Bit of sandblasting and make this into a Minter, you know. Might even put a couple of little mods on it, because I've been collecting bits for the last couple of years. I've got a lovely set of Speedwell wheels. I've got an Alexander twin carburettor manifold and quite a lot of nice little bits. And to be honest, I wouldn't want to ruin it, and I'll make sure I keep all the original bits. But it's what they did in the day. When I worked at the London Sports Car Centre, if we took a Mini in part exchange, you could bet your life that it had been modified. Because they all were modified. Almost immediately, people were putting twin carbs on them and tweaking them up and lowering them a bit and blah, 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 blah. So I thought this would sort of be a statement of the time of what actually happened. And I quite like the fact it's an Austin 7. So anyway, we'll see how we get on and see what nice bits we can find. You know, I've got an Alexander manifold. I've got a Restall seat, which was, you know, one of the bits that they used to put in the Mini Cooper S's and that. So I've got original Restall seat, I've got Speedwell wheels. So, you know, I don't intend to cut it up or spoil it in any way. So in the future, all the bits will be sitting there, and if somebody's mad about it being original, they can just put all the original bits back. So that's it. But anyway, so that's what we're going to do with this car. So what we're thinking of doing is fitting the camera up, and me and John just switching it on from time to time to see how we're getting on with it. Right, so this Mini's got quite a funny story really, because it took me, I don't know, about a year to buy it, because I first heard about it and nothing happened, and then I heard about it again and nothing happened, and eventually the lady who owned it rang me up, and she was a very nice woman, and she'd learned to drive in it, her brother had learned to drive in it, and her dad used to use it, and I think her dad must have looked after it quite well really, because I can't believe how good it is. But anyway, we got it going, me and John, and we drove it, so we knew it drove, and we had to do a bit of work on the brakes. But anyway, now we've decided to do it. And yesterday we took all the inside out, and I can't believe how good it is. I mean, it has got a few little bits, but sometimes these cars have got no floor. They're on about a couple of little bits, so It's very, very good. So Tanya will take a picture of the floor and you can see it. So the floor is very good, but there's a hole here. And there isn't a hole that side, but I think if you poke it hard enough, there will be. But I mean, amazing, look at it. I can't believe it. It's even got these inner bits are good. Even the little holes for allowing the floor to run in, the water to run into the floor. It's all in really good condition, so, you know, it's a very good Mini. But talking about Minis and saying how people modify them right from the word go, this has even got a period mod. That was a period mod. Because what happened was, obviously the things broke or deteriorated. So that's a mod. That's a mod. Because originally they had that. And you pulled it. But straight away the accessory shops had all this stuff. In fact, I knew a man who had an accessory shop. And I was talking to him one day and he said, if you put stuff in the window and say, ideal for a Mini, he said, they sold like hotcakes. So he said, from then on, virtually everything he ever had that you could fit on any kind of car, he would say, perfect for a Mini. So, you know, I think, well, I love Minis anyway, and I think that they've got a lot of sort of history in the psyche of English people. I mean, I had an Austin 7 when I was a kid and I learned to drive and I passed my test in an Austin 7. Well, this is a Mini, but it's called an Austin 7. So that's how important Austin 7s were. To name a new car an Austin 7 must have been quite a thing, really. So anyway, there we are. That's how we've got today. Have a look at the back. They all rusted here. Because the wet used to come up here and land in the back there, and they were always like that. In fact, this one has even been repaired by the previous owner, but when we repair it, we want to make it so that you can't see it's been done, you know. I mean, we'll butt weld it and grind it, make a right awkward job like we do with everything, really, but we'll try and make it look as good as possible. But we don't want to make it look new. You know, we will clean up the interior and we'll put it back, and we'll keep the originality of the car, but make it look as good as possible. But the other car wasn't as bad as this, so, you know, we didn't need to do it really. But I think this car needs doing to catch the various corners, catch the boot. The engine's, it's done 90,000 miles, so a set of bearings and a new oil pump and a bit of a liven up won't do it any harm. Especially if we decide to put the twin carburettors on it and, you know, various things. We got the rest-all seat somewhere. Look, here's the rest-all seat. This was a seat that they used to put in Minis, and you could turn this knob. You could turn this knob and it wound it back, you know, like that. And this seat was obviously made, or if it wasn't made, it suited a Mini immensely. So, you know, that's a bit of a laugh. We'll probably fit that. But we'll see what you all say. I tell you what, there's another thing. When we were talking about the other car, one of our followers, when I mentioned that you couldn't get the rubber that goes around the edge of the door, said, you can get that now. Well, I've never had any luck getting it, so I'll go over now and I'll show you what it looks like, and hopefully somebody can tell us where we can get it. So let's go over there, Tanya. Right, this is the stuff that goes around the edge of the door. Now, I know that you can buy a rubber thing similar to this, but in actual fact it's like a solid lump just there. So when you close the door, it's much more resistant, so the doors never close. In fact, the doors on my Ferrari are a bloody nuisance because you have to give them quite a slam. And I'm hoping that one day these are going to bed in, but whether they ever will or not, or I'll live long enough, I don't know. So if I'm going to replace this, I'd like to replace it with the dead right stuff. And that is the dead right stuff. And it hasn't got, it's not a piece of tube. It's just a flat bit of rubber that goes like that. So where do we get that from then, folks? That would be a help if somebody could tell me that. But the interior is quite good, really. I mean, it's all a bit dirty and everything, and it's going to be a bit off colour, but, you know, it's original. It hasn't got the dead right windows. It shouldn't have two holes, being a 59 Mini, it shouldn't have those two holes there, like that. Now, if you go around the other side, Tanya, you can see the difference. And you can see why they changed it. This is the dead right window for a 59, but it hasn't got the two holes here. So consequently, it does that. So everybody replaced them, and that's obviously why that's been replaced. I think probably what I'll do, my other Mini is exactly the same, it's been replaced. So I think what I'm going to do, I shall put these on the other 59 Mini and put these back to being the more modern one, because this car will probably get used more than the other one. So we'll see anyway. I mean, I change my mind every 5 minutes, so never mind about every day or every week or every year. So by the time we finish, we might be doing something completely different. But anyway, so this would be a good start for people knowing about us restoring this 59 Austin 7. Well, what started out, well, this is quite a good car. It don't look like it's got a lot of rust on it. It hasn't actually as bad as they can be, but it isn't brilliant. So anyway, old John's done this back. He's welded a new strip on there, welded a new strip in there, and a new panel under there, and a new bumper, and it all seems to fit reasonably well. In fact, it looks very good to me. So then we start taking little bits out, and then a little bit more out, and then a little bit more out, and as you can see, it's finished up a body shell virtually. In fact, it will be a body shell. We're talking about putting it on our spit so we can revolve it, because we reckon we're going to do a little bit of blasting here and there. And this corner over here, which didn't look that bad, as you can see, it's pretty bad. So it's going to need a new A panel in there and quite a lot of repairs before you actually put the A panel on. The wing is pretty good, so we'll probably repair that bit. And there's no doubt we haven't even bashed the other side, so there's a good chance that looks exactly like this side. But overall, it's pretty good. There was the usual cracks here, so I beat them down a little bit and bronze welded it, which I think is going to work good, because getting a bit of bronze running in is very strong. So I'm hoping that that'll be a success. So that's it really. But then, obviously, when you start thinking about these cars, the Minis especially, the old mind starts to get a bit focused, and I thought, well, hang on a minute, we've got the Morris Mini, which is absolutely beautiful and original, and I've driven it a lot, and you've seen it on YouTube. And then we've got the Austin 7 Mini, which was obviously made in Longbridge and is an Austin 7, which again means we've got the pair, and they're both 59. And then, I think about it, we've got the two-cylinder prototype Mini engine that they were looking at, and we've also got the two-stroke engine that they were looking at. So all in all, we've got a pretty good collection of early Mini stuff. In the meantime, I've been thinking about this car, and in the day, when I was young, and in the 60s, modifying a Mini was what everybody did. I mean, you didn't have to be a mechanic. You could be anybody in your little garage, and you'd bolt bits on it and what have you. So over the years at Bewley and sometimes on eBay, I've seen bits and I've bought them. Because it wasn't a Pacific plan, but as it happens, it's turning into a Pacific plan. So what I'm going to do with this car is we're going to put all the period bits on it that would have been the mods that they would have done in the day. And there's a load of things that, you know, young people today wouldn't even know about. And because a load of you out there's probably even done it yourself. So there's a lot of things I don't remember. But I've collected together a few of the bits that I have actually bought. So we'll make a little video of that, and then if you could write in and say, oh yeah, but I remember this or I remember that, and I don't remember it, then it would be a help. And you might even know where some of the bits are. Typical the phone rings, isn't it? But that's Mary coming to make the tea, and so I'll have to go and pick her up. So hang on a sec. So there's the Speedwell wheels that I bought in Spain. I also bought that because I thought it was a bit of a laugh. I mean, obviously we're not going to put it on the car, but, you know, I mean, if there was a little display of early Mini stuff, the modified, lowered Austin 7, the standard one, both 59, and this one with all the bits on it. So we've got the we've got the Speedwell wheels, we've got the Aquaplane manifold. Now, the idea of this manifold was that you use the original carburettor that was on the car, and you've got another carburettor, which you'd probably have to buy new in them days, but however, and you finished up with a twin carburettor manifold. I've also got an original cast iron manifold that's been, the inlet manifold has been cut off it, and the hot spot's been cut off it, and it's quite a nice job. So that would have been like a mild bit of tuning, but might use that. Got the door handles. The other thing we got, which is this. Now, when these Minis were new, electronic rev counters, there weren't any, I don't think. And Krypton, the people that used to make the diagnostic machine, made a rev counter. Krypton. So it's a bit crabby, and I don't know whether we can do anything with it, and whether we can find a better one. But I think that's a period bit. And then the other bit, the Redex gauge. Now, what that did, I can't imagine, but I drove lots of cars with them on, and the needle was flipping about. I'm sure there's a reason for them, but I thought, well, who has seen a Redex gauge for a number of years? So we've got that. We've also got a really nice accelerator pedal, cast, and quite a good job. So that's a good bit. Then we've got a rest-all seat, which is going to need a bit of work, but it's all there and quite good. Trumpets on the carburettors, and stronger valve springs. So, special pulley for lowering the speed of the dynamo, which I can't see it be necessary, but it just happened to have it somehow. And that's about it so far, that's the bits. Now I remember they had a special thing for lowering the steering column. I haven't got one of them. And also, another funny thing that the kids would think would be funny, plastic extension for the 2 switches. So when you were sitting further back, you could switch it on, switch the wipers on, switch the headlights on. I haven't got them. So really, that's about all the things I can think of at the moment. But I've no doubt there's a load of people out there, our followers, who would remember this as well as I did, and they say, oh yeah, but what about the so-and-so, what about this? There was loads of things that you could buy if you had a Mini to make it a little bit different to all the other Minis. So anyway, this is what we're going to do. We're going to make that period modified Mini, so it'll be a bit lower and all the bits on it. I think it'll be good, and then you stand it next to the original one, and then we've got the prototype engines. I think we've got a better display than Gaydon's got. So you never know, it could be good. And we're keeping it all together, which is the important thing. I mean, in another 10 years, when everybody's driving whatever, I'm not going to say electric cars, because I think something else will come along, but that's another story. Then they won't, the kids won't remember that. I said to somebody the other day about Dean Martin. They said, who's he? I couldn't believe it. So, you know, these things soon get lost in history. And when they're all driving their electric cars or whatever, they're going to be pretty keen to see a little Mini that was modified in the 60s when you could buy petrol and it didn't matter and nobody was worrying about anything and we're all having a lovely time. So that's my plan. And I'll be really keen to hear what you've got to say about it, whether you all think it's a load of nonsense, or whether you think it's a good idea, and whether you can think of things that I haven't even mentioned. So anyway, that's the plan. Tanya's going to have to cut this up a lot, because we took pictures of this and I've changed my mind like I do every hour. So anyway, don't forget to subscribe.